What if everything you've been told about finding your niche has been pointing you in the completely wrong direction? And the thing you've been overlooking this entire time isn't a topic, isn't a category, isn't even a brand voice, but a pile of problems you've already solved that nobody has ever seen. Because here's the truth, most creators never confront. The niche crisis isn't a content problem, it's a memory problem. You've been sitting on proof of your expertise this whole time, my friend, and you've been calling it just work. I did. Instead of calling it what it actually is, your strategy. Let me ask you something before we go any further. How many times have you fixed something? A broken process, a messy client situation, your own setup that wasn't working, and then just moved on like it never happened? For most people, the honest answer is constant. It happens weekly, sometimes daily, and every single one of those moments gets quietly discarded as just doing the job, when in reality, each one is raw material for the only kind of authority that actually holds up in 2026. Authority built on resolution, not performance. Here's the first question we're sitting with you. When you think about your niche, are you picturing a topic you talk about or a type of problem you walk people out of? That distinction is the entire crisis. Topics or categories, fitness, marketing, software, woodworking, whatever. And categories are crowded. Worse, they're interchangeable. Anyone can claim a category, but almost nobody can claim a specific friction point and back it up with a track record. A friction point is precise. It's the exact moment someone hits a wall. Their export keeps failing, their funnel converts but doesn't retain, their setup worked yesterday and inexplicably doesn't work today, and the person who can say, I've stood exactly where you're standing, and here's precisely how I got through it, isn't competing in a niche anymore. They're becoming a bridge. That's the reframe. Authority isn't a personality trait or a confidence level. Authority is structural. It's the connective tissue between someone's specific frustration and a resolution that's already been proven to work. You don't build that bridge by sounding confident. You build it by having already crossed that exact gap yourself and being willing to show others how to cross it as well. So here's the second question. How many of those bridges have you already built in your work that you've never shown anyone? This is where your history becomes the asset nobody else has. Every broken workflow you've repaired carries something incredibly rare. Proof of utility. Not promised utility, not theoretical utility, demonstrated, already happened, already worked utility. And here's why that matters so much right now. Trends are loud, but they're temporary. A format blows up, everyone copies it, and 6 months later, it's dead air. But I had this exact problem, and here's precisely how I solved it. That doesn't go still, my friends. It doesn't depend on a platform's algorithm mode. It depends only on whether the fix actually worked. And fixes that work, keep working. Think about what that means for how you build trust. Trust built on personality has to be constantly performed. You have to keep being likable, keep being entertaining, keep showing up with energy every single time. But trust built on a documented history of fixes doesn't require performance. It requires evidence, and evidence compounds. Every solved problem you document adds to a growing body of proof that doesn't depend on whether you're on that day. Here's a question worth asking yourself honestly. If someone went through your past work right now, your videos, your projects, your client history, would they find personality? Or would they find a pattern of problems that kept getting solved? Now here's where most people stall out, because they assume documenting a solution means making a polished tutorial. It does not. Tutorials teach skills in the abstract. Here's how this tool generally works. But documenting the mechanics of an actual solution is something entirely different. It means showing the specific broken thing, the real diagnosis of why it broke, and the actual sequence that fixed it, including the parts that didn't work the first time. That failed attempt before the real fix is often the most valuable part of the whole story, because it proves you didn't just get lucky, it proves you actually understood the problem. This is the mechanism that turns raw technical competence into something unshakable. Competence by itself is invisible. It's locked inside finished projects nobody outside your circle ever saw. Inside your own head is things I just know how to do. The moment you translate that competence into a documented fix, naming the friction point, then walking through the real mechanics of the resolution, you've converted something invisible into something verifiable. And verifiable competence is the only kind that builds a brand that doesn't erode over time. Ask yourself this: what's one problem, yours or someone else's, where you know exactly what broke, why it broke, and exactly what fixed it, that you never once put into a video? That's not a side project, that's your actual content strategy, sitting there completely unused. And here's why it outperforms anything built around chasing a topic. When you document a real fix, you're not hoping the algorithm finds you interesting. You're answering a question someone is actively, urgently asking right now. How do I get out of this exact situation? That's not casual browsing behavior. That's someone standing at a wall, looking for the door, and you're the person who's already found it. This is also why utility outlasts trends so decisively. A trend-based video has a shelf life measured in days, maybe weeks. A documented fix has a shelf life measured in however long that problem keeps existing, which, for most real workflow issues, is years. People will keep hitting that same wall long after this week's trending format is completely forgotten. And every time someone hits that wall and finds your documented fix, the trust transaction happens again, automatically, without you doing anything new. Are you building a channel around what you think you should talk about, or around what you've already proven you can fix? Because the niche crisis disappears the moment you stop searching for a category and start mining your own history. Every broken thing you've repaired is a bridge waiting to be shown. Every fix you've never documented is authority sitting unused. Stop asking what your niche is. Start asking what you've already solved. And start showing the mechanics of exactly how you did it. I'm Dan with Being Lifted Media. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Drop it in the comments below. What's one real problem you've already solved that you've never shown anyone how you fixed? Because that video, that might be the one that finally makes your expertise impossible to ignore. Thanks everyone. Have an awesome day. See you in the next one.